MikroTik.
Hello everybody. My presentation will be in English. So yeah. If you don't understand English, at least you can see the slides, take pictures, and maybe use some commands from that presentation. This presentation won't be too much deep technical. It will be just some short overview how you can secure your routers. Most likely, most of the information from that presentation you know, but we hope that there will be some useful information for you, and you will be able to secure and enhance configuration of your routers from this presentation. So my name is Sergejs. I'm working in MikroTik technical support for like 13 years, I guess, and recently there are like many issues about the security in networks and in routers configuration, so we come up with a short guideline how you can protect your router. The same presentation material that will be presented today is available on our wiki. On wiki you can search for securing your router, and you can take configuration and steps from that presentation and apply to your router. So the first thing I would like to start is that MikroTik RouterOS is the same everywhere. So every device runs the same MikroTik RouterOS, and all the features are available starting from small boards, from MAP or from hub, and the same features are available on cloud core routers or x86 E7 or similar device. So what does it mean? It means that you can run BGP also on your MAP router, right? But MAP router is very small and it doesn't have enough RAM, so we don't recommend to do that. You can still try how it works, but you need to select appropriate hardware for your setups. But all the features are the same everywhere. So very important point is way how you manage, how you configure your router, as MikroTik RouterOS offers you some different possibilities. So the first, the last is console. It is a management interface for the people who feels at least they are advanced users and they don't want to use a graphical interface, and they can use console. But graphical interface has the same commands and features as a console. There is no like there are some commands only in console or some commands in Winbox. All the commands are available everywhere, and for our documentations we usually have configuration commands from console, and sometimes users are asking us for Winbox commands. But they are also the same. Like if you take a console command IP address add address, the same logic is available in Winbox, and the same logic is available in Webfig. And Webfig is the interface that you can configure your routers by browser. So it is cross-platform. You can use mobile phone, you can use Linux, you can use macOS. So this is the way how you can make cross-platform management tool available for you. Then we have a special application for mobile phones. Currently it is for Androids. It is TikUp. I think it is still available on Alpha channel, so it's not yet available on Google Store, but we plan to add it in very soon. Very soon it should be available in regular Play Store, and once it will be available in Play Store, we will start working on EOS app. So there also will be EOS app for RouterOS configuration. And Winbox, Winbox is our favorite tool how we configure routers. Some people say, "Oh, it's Windows application. I am not able to use it." I'm using it on my Mac as well. It's no issue to run it on Linux. You can use Wine Helper, Wine Bottler, and run that program and configure your routers. So the fastest configuration for your MikroTik RouterOS device is QuickSet. If you don't need any advanced configuration, but just to set something on your device, so you can use QuickSet. Usually, even when you bought router board from somewhere, it has some configuration, but you need usually to set a password and to secure the router. And the QuickSet is that QuickSet is the way how you can configure the router very quickly. Just add some basic configuration, change SSID, change password, and the router will be ready to use. But one thing is that if you use QuickSet, so you use QuickSet. If you want to apply queues, firewall, or some advanced configuration, we strongly suggest to use Winbox console or Webfig, but do not use QuickSet. So there will be disturbance between configuration you apply on QuickSet and configuration you apply by Winbox. So QuickSet should be used only for basic configurations that you want to add to your router. But if you are, let's say, advanced user, you use Winbox console SSH or Telnet. So let's speak about some security measurements that you can apply to your router. So the first thing that you should do on your router when you get it, set a password. You set a password. I hope it is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. You set more secure password. But one more important thing is that you need to change that admin to different name, because people, if you have a router with open access, people will try to guess your password, and they will use admin as admin root. They will use as a first choice how to guess your username with the password. So usually your name will be enough. But if you want to put a bigger name, you can use name, surname, I don't know, phone number, whatever, and set that name different one as the default, and it will add some protection for you from bad people. Of course, for every username you can set up allowed address. By that allowed address, you specify the IP address that will be you will be able to access your router only by that IP address, by that username. So you can set every username with a specific address it is allowed, and disallow access for other IP addresses. As well, the same configuration can be applied in a firewall. You can, on IP firewall, filter chain input, put rules, and disallow addresses that are not yours, and accept only yours address for the specific ports. The next thing that you need to do for your wireless router is to set password for the wireless network. We suggest to use VPA2 and IS cipher. It will be secure enough. Usually, actually, if you have a strong password for your VPA network, for your wireless network, most likely the person will not get access to it. For certain cases, if somebody will share that password in your network, somebody can get access to it, but you can change that password as well. If you have some public network, you can assign VPA password per user. You can go to interface wireless access list, put a MAC address of specific user, and set unique password for that user, and do it for all users in your network. And important thing about VPA, it not only protects your network from unauthorized access, but also when you set up VPA, connection between the client and your access point is encrypted, so people is sending encrypted data, and it's not so easy to intercept it and get access to the data. That's why also we are doing password for the wireless network here, so you can be sure that your connection between access point and your device is secured and protected. The next thing on security is to disable unused interfaces. By default, when you get router board or x86 device, it has all ports usually enabled, and very often people leave so this ports enabled, and if the device has public access, somebody can plug the cable to your device and try to get access. So look on the interfaces that you have and disable all unused ones. SFP, Ethernet, leave only the ports that are actually used in your network. The next thing that you need to apply security for is to disable unused package. So RouterOS is running on packages, and there is some set of predefined packages, but usually not of all the packages are required. So for example, if you have CCA router and you don't have wireless controller, you disable wireless package. If you don't have hotspot, you disable hotspot. So RouterOS just needs system packages to run on, and you can evaluate which packages are required for you and leave only the ones that are not needed. For example, here is example for IPv6, but it's usually disabled. And by the way, from 640, IPv6 will be enabled by default, and we will have IPv6 firewall. So yeah, so you will be able to consider whether it's required for you or not on the firewall. The next thing that you need to do is to evaluate IP services. IP service is services that are used by RouterOS for some specific functions, like you can access your router by SSH, you can access your router by Winbox. First of all, we suggest to disable telnet, telnet service for your device, because if you will use telnet over unsecured network, most probably if there is some bad person, he will get your username and password, and then he might access your router, change password, and then you will be very unsatisfied that somebody logged into your router and changed some configuration. So disable telnet. The next service that you need to consider to disable is API. If you are not using API, disable both of them. As API is IPSSL. Then you also should really consider if you need FTP service, because nowadays you can update your router by system package upgrade, do it automatically, so FTP server usually is not required. So you need, you may leave like SSH and Winbox. For HTTP port, it is also, if you like use web browser to configure and access your device, put some self-created certificate and use HTTPS for configuration. Otherwise, also some person can get access to your device and do bad things on it. The next thing on security is to disable MAC server. So your device is available by Mac Winbox and Mac Telnet on all interfaces by default, and you can consider what interfaces are trustful, and you can either put some interface to that list or disable all of them and use only IP address for accessing your device. So there is Mac Server for Winbox interfaces, so Mac Winbox, and the same is available for Mac Telnet in the Telnet interfaces. You select at the interface you want to secure, and only from that interface your router will be accessible by MAC address. But for most cases, for 90%, MAC address access is required only for applying initial configuration. As soon as you put configuration on your router that is required to access it by IP address, you can disable that MAC access, and then your router will be accessible only by IP address. The next thing is to hide your device from on neighbor discovery. By default, on local interface, neighbor discovery is enabled for all the devices in the network. If it is your trustful network, it is usually useful to see what kind of devices do you have. But if you have your router in a public network, you can consider to disable it on a public. And if you don't trust your local users, you can do the same for local interface. Usually router will have in IP neighbor discovery all that list of the interfaces, and you can disable neighbor discovery on a specific port. Few more things to consider. If you have router in a public network, you can disable COM access. Guys in the last row. Guys in the last row, if you are not listening, you can talk there, okay? So if your router is in a public network, you might consider to switch off the COM port, because for example CCR has a COM port, and by default this COM port is enabled, so a person can plug COM cable, null modem cable, and get console access to your device. And by disabling the serial 0 port, you disable the COM on your device, but sometimes it is also will play for your bad, because if something will be wrong with your device, you will try to get access by COM port, and it is disabled. For public locations, it is advised to do so. For your local server room, if you trust your network administrators, you can leave it enabled. Then usually I am disabling LCD on my devices. In 2011, Cloud Core and so on, as I don't use LCD for managing, and I just disabling to save some RAM and CPU on my device, so I disable LCD. Few more things to consider about the security is that you need to place your router in a secure location. So if this router is really important for you, you need to keep it on a place where nobody gets access to it. If it is installed somewhere in a public space, one thing that you can do is to protect the reset button. There is a special setting called protected router board, where you can protect your device from being not installed or reset. You put you can put, I think now is 5 minutes maximal time for reset button, and person will actually need to hold this reset button for 5 minutes. In the future, we consider to put an option to disable that reset button at all. But we still are very afraid of the fact that you won't have an ability to use that reset button, and if you forget the password, it means that you will need to throw out the device. So that's why it's still not here, not in RouterOS yet, but I guess sooner or later it will be available. So these are the few tips on the security, but there are just some basic ones. Of course, there are much more. We will speak about some firewall security that you can apply. But if you're interested in overall security, you are welcome to go to wiki.mikrotik.com. There are different kind of articles how you can protect your router and how you can enhance security on your device. So about the firewall, MikroTik RouterOS has very powerful firewall, and in that firewall you can do anything, everything that you can imagine. You can filter and accept, drop, and much more action you can do with the packets that are going through your router. And usually there are two approaches how you configure your firewall. By default, if you don't have any firewall, but router board devices has firewall on chain input and chain forward. It has protection for your router from public networks and some protection for your customers from public networks too. And if you don't have any firewall rules, then all packets are accepted by default. That's why you apply a firewall. And there are two approaches. Either you accept trusted, I don't know, hosts, ports, and drop everything else. And another approach, you drop only bad ports, bad username, bad IP addresses, bad MAC address, and accept everything else. And the selection of firewall concept depends only on you. So it's the rules of your network. I'm paranoid, that's why I'm using the thing that I accept only trusted device and drop everything else. I don't usually use a firewall that only blocks some specific ports. Okay, in this room we have MikroTik access points, and there I'm using the second approach when I drop only unneeded things and accept everything else. But in my networks and in my routers, I usually use the first approach, that I'm allowing only trusted packets and drop everything else. So what are our suggestions for firewall? So firewall can be divided in a few groups. First group is a filter. So this is a place where you filter packages, where you filter packets that are going to your device. And in firewall, usually are chains. This is chains is how packets are traversing the router, and usually there are 3 or 5 chains, and the input is a chain that is used to packets that are going to your router directly, not to the clients, but especially to the router. So when you're accessing your MikroTik device by Winbox, packets are going to chain input, and these are the rules that you need to apply for your device. First rule is accepting ping, ISMP packets. Usually there are discussions, can you do something bad for your router with a ping? For 99% no. You can leave 1% for very specific configurations and very specific cases where you can do very bad things with ping, but usually there is no reason to drop it, and for you it will be easier to find out whether your device is up or no. So that's why you accept ping. And the next rule is very important. As a MikroTik firewall is a stateful firewall, you accept established and related packets. It means that your firewall will work only with new packets. Only new packets that are going to your router will be checked. So after this rule, you put, for example, your IP address, or if you use the third rule and you accept all traffic from all interfaces except either one. We assume that either one is your internet interface. So the firewall rule will work in the following logic: that when I am accessing my device from Ethernet 2, that packets will go through that rules and it will be accepted by the third rule. And if I am accessing the device by Winbox from Ethernet 2, then all packets will go by the second rule, and my firewall won't be overused, and I won't waste my resources on checking every packets for Winbox from interface Ether 2. And when somebody will try to connect with a new packet, then this rule will be passed, and my firewall will be checked by this rule. For sure, you can enhance that configuration and put your IP address as accepted address, and put specific ports, and put any configuration that is good for you. So this is how it looks in Winbox, and this is the commands. The presentation will be available after the month, so you will be able to get all the commands and evaluate them for your device. Then we have chain forward. Chain forward is a specific place where you filter clients packets, and the same as for input, we suggest to use established and related on the top, so it will make your firewall to work with new packets only. Then for clients, we suggest that you drop invalid packets. Invalid packets are the packets that doesn't have a source or destination address in the connection tracking table. So usually invalid packets can be used by intruders to initiate some connection to your client device, and that's why you don't need to see invalid packets on your client networks. And then if you have NAT, you can drop all the connections on your firewall that are not NATed by that rule. And by that, you make sure that only NATed users in your network are able access to your device or send the packets through your device. The next thing about firewall is NAT. Actually, NAT is a good way to protect your customers, because when you put them under NAT, person from outside is not able to make the connection to that device. Only in that cases when your NATed device is initiating connection to the outside, then device is replying and you get the packets. But there is no direct connection to that device from outer networks. And when we will have IPv6, especially in Asia, they are saying that it will be very, very soon when everything will be IPv6, but currently IPv6 are not yet popular. Then you will have to consider about firewall in much more deeper level, because every device will have a public IP address, and it won't be so easy like with IPv4 when you have a NAT, and usually you don't need to worry about the incoming connection to your devices. But with the NAT, if you have a static address for your internet connection, we strongly suggest that you change that action masquerade to change as source NAT, because there might be some issues if you have flopping on your interfaces, like when it always goes up and goes down. It is much better that you use action source NAT instead. And yeah. The next option, if you are using firewall and if you want to know how it works in much deeper level, we strongly suggest you to check it on a packet flow diagram. So this is like a law, how all packets are traversing a MikroTik device. So you can see when packets is going to filter, when it's going to destination NAT, when it's going to hotspot, pre-routing. So in that packet flow diagram, you can see and get the idea how packets are traversing through your device. one more thing about the NAT. If you have a NAT and you need to open specific port for your server, you can use the STNAT and source NAT. And if you have, for example, a web server and the people need to make a connection to your server inside network, you configure destination NAT. Here we have SSH, but the same is for web server. You put destination port 80 and forward traffic to your device. And all other clients that are connected to your network are protected, but you are opening only one port for your server, so your public server is accessible for devices. And in the Winbox, it is available on NAT tab, and you can add the traffic there. The next important thing, and I guess this feature was added a few versions before, you can block specific traffic, and now you can block by DNS name. Usually you have only IP addresses, but now you have an option to create address list with the DNS name. For example, here was a Facebook, and router will automatically put all specific page addresses to that address list, and then you can apply this address list with a specific action. You can put accept, you can put drop, you can put lock, you can put reject, and if person will try to open that specific page, you will drop the connection, and you don't need to put all the IP address by yourself. A router will do the job automatically by resolving that IP address that are used by the device. One more interesting configuration example is that how you can protect from a person who attacks your router on a specific port. So this is example for telnet, and we can imagine that when we access our device with telnet or SSH, we do it like if we access the device, we will do it like once in a minute, not often, not more often. Like you open a session of SSH to your router and configure something, and within a minute or within 10 minutes you close the connection, everything is fine. But if person is trying to guess username to your router, each will be a new connection, and by this firewall rule, we will check if there are more than one connection to your router by SSH from the same address within 1 minute. We will put this IP address for blacklist for 10 days. So if somebody was making many connections to our device, we block that username by 10 days list. And in firewall, in address list, we can go to the block list and see what kind of IP addresses are actually there that were dropped. So this is a simple way how you can block some brute forcers from your device and still have open access to it with all ports. And you can put any port you like here. You can put all the ports for RouterOS service. You can put Winbox, you can put SSH, any other port. The next thing is a boundaries control. Is a way how you can enhance traffic on your devices. So one important configuration option for router board devices is an ability to enable fast track. So a fast track is a specific way how you can bypass some RouterOS internal checking and bypass like queues and everything. And by using fast track for specific connections, you can get speed 2 times faster. So for example, if it is router board 2011, you will get like 800 megabits with fast track, and like without fast track it would be only half of it. So usually, as I said before, we are working on firewall with the new connections, and we can fast track all established and related packets that we trust, and we get much higher bandwidth for the devices that are connected to our router by that fast track rule. More details about the fast track and the fastpass is available on our wiki, so you can go on wiki and check how you can use fast track and fastpass for your connection go faster through your router. The next important part of MikroTik routers is queues. We have simple queues and Q3. So it's the way how you can limit the bandwidth for clients. As for most cases, usually we have more clients that we have bandwidth, and queues offers you wide opportunities to apply the limitations. Starting with a simple one, when you can just put specific IP address and provide the specific address with the 5 megabits. But RouterOS has different functions how you can use queues in much better way, and our favorite one is a PCQ. PCQ allows you to do different configurations. So first of all, imagine you have like 10 megabits download and 10 megabits upload, and you have some number of clients, you don't know how many of them you have. And PCQ allows you to equalize all the 10 megabits between those users. And when you have 2 users, they will use like 5 megabits each. If you have 10 users, they will use 1 megabit on the same time, and so on. The same you can use PCQ when you are not when your bandwidth is not specifically set, like it's not 10 megabits, it could be 30 megabits. So you can equalize this bandwidth between your users. And the third configuration point of PCQ is when you have 200 clients and they have the same bandwidth limitation. So by PCQ you can set imagine 1 megabit for each user, and by adding 1 queue for that device for your router, you will limit the bandwidth for all clients. PCQ configuration is available. PCQ examples is available here. You will find different configuration examples there. As well, if you are interested in queues, you can go to queues documentation. But usually people don't like queues documentation, so you can go to MikroTik training. We have MikroTik trainers, and they usually will be able to teach how you can configure queues much more efficiently. The next part of the presentation is how you can debug when something is go wrong on your router. So MikroTik RouterOS offers you different options how you can find out what is wrong. So usually when you have some problems, you need like have some guidelines how you can debug what is going on in your router. So first, the easiest way is to check the logs. By default, MikroTik RouterOS offers you some logs that are available on your log interface. But usually, if you have problems with a specific part of your router's device, you can use the topic debug, and then select route, DHCP, or the topic you have problems with, and you can see what is going on. It will have much more detailed information about the problems on the device. If it's wireless, you put wireless debug, and you will see what is going on. As well, interesting part about logs is that you can store the logs on a disk. You can send logs to remote syslog server, so you can have one centralized server where you get all the logs, and then you work with that logs. As well, it's possible to send logs to email, but or even to your mobile phone by SMS. But you need to be careful if it is like login fail log. You are sleeping, and then at night you will receive 300 SMSs with that log. So you can configure, but be careful what you do with the logs. The next very powerful tool, how to find out what is wrong if there is too much traffic from specific host. You can use a torch. Torch allows you to see what packets, what IP addresses are used by the specific traffic, and in the Winbox you can see different information for the traffic. So you can see source address, you can see destination address, you can see how many packets, you can see how many rate for that device is going on through your router. So if something goes wrong and there is too much traffic on your device, the first tool you need to use is Torch. If Torch doesn't give you helpful information, you can use Sniffer. So Sniffer allows you to sniff packets on the specific interface or on all interfaces, and then later you can get the Sniffer output on your Wireshark and analyze what is going on with packets on your device. So you start a Sniffer, select the interface, in general settings set file name, and when you stop the sniffers, put stop, and there will be file created in your files list. You download that file. You can even view it on the sniffer interface, but I prefer to use Wireshark, so I download that sniffer output to my device, and then on Wireshark I'm checking what is wrong with the packets on that router. The next thing that could be used for debugging is Profiler. So Profiler is showing how many CPU percent or how many CPU is using specific service. So I can see that, for example, Winbox is taking 25% of my CPU load. So then I think, okay, what I'm doing with Winbox, or maybe this is taking too much resources. So if you have CPU load 100%, you go to tool profile and see what is going on the device during that time. The next debugging tool that usually is not very popular, but actually it provides you with very valuable information. It's built-in graphing. Graphing allows you to check the load on CPU, on memory, and disk. So you install a new version and you see that memory is growing up. So you have a specific issue and you see that CPU and memory growing up. So then you start thinking what could be wrong and how you can enhance it. So you can use graphing. Graphing as well is available for interfacing queues. So you can see how many bandwidth is used by the specific interface or queue. And if you need to manage specific options that are not available on graphic, RouterOS offers you SNMP version 1.2.3. It depends on how much security you need. And by SNMP you can monitor many different options that are not available on graphic, and then you can set SNMP server somewhere in your network, and then you can monitor specific parameters there. The next debugging tool that can be used, actually it's not debugging, it's more a monitoring tool. So it's the Dude. It is our specific application that is used to monitor and manage MikroTik devices. You can get the information how to use it on that link, and you can install the Dude on your router and network, and then use Windows computer and monitor that network from one host. So The next thing on debugging, we in MikroTik suggest you to use the latest MikroTik RouterOS version. As usually, it contains the latest fixes and updates, and all known fixes and updates, and all known issues are fixed on the last version. Usually, when we have mails to support, people like not very comfortable to use the latest version, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm having that version. Maybe you can apply some fix on that version." We don't do this, so we suggest to use the latest version. However, in the last year, we added a new version to our family. As previously we just had current version, so it contained all bug fixes and all new features was in current version. But for like 1 or 2 years already, we have a bug fix version. So it is long tested and latest full release with all known issues. With like if we receive some issues that the router bot is rebooting in some specific situation, we put that bug fix in that bug fix version, and the bug fix should be that version that you should use on your network. But also you can use the current one. Current one contains the same bug fix, but also new features that were added from period of that version to RouterOS. And in the RouterOS, in the system package, you can select the channel, and you can automatically see what is the latest version, see the changelog, and then upgrade. As well for the changelog, previously we had not so long changelog, but now we have changelog with all changes and fixes that were added to the specific version. So if you have a time to check on 150 entries, you can see what was changed on the router in the current RouterOS version. And then you upgrade automatically and get everything on your device. So the last part of this presentation will be on the debugging that we usually ask clients that when they are writing to MikroTik support, and what are our standard procedures, how you can debug when something is wrong on your router. So when MikroTik RouterOS software stopped working on a device, so there are a few things that you can apply on your device. So first of all, you can run backup router bot on your device. So you take your router board, hold the reset button, apply the power, hold reset button for 1-2 seconds, then release. Maybe your device will be up after that procedure, and you will be able to use the device still. But if it doesn't work, you can use net install. For net install is we understand that net install is not like so very easy tool to use, as many of our users have problems with it. But you can have one computer where net install is working 100%, and you can reinstall your device on that computer. You know that it works with every device, and you can try to reinstall RouterOS on your device. And in net install, you can check keep old configuration. So if your router had some very important configuration, it will be saved on this process. But RouterOS will be refreshed on your device, and you might get your router board working. But if net install is not helping to get your device back, then you will need to reset the device. If after reset you get access to your device, you can apply the configuration. By the way, there are like 2 ways how you can apply the configuration. First is backup, but backup should be used only on within the same router. If you're changing the configuration, if you're changing the hardware, it is much better to use export, import. Export has everything except username, except SSH certificate and certificate. So by the export, you can apply the configuration very quickly. And the good thing about the export, you can open a text file and add your own configuration by RouterOS commands. Two notes: you need to keep your backup files in a secure location. In the latest version, we encrypt backups with your username and password, but keep them in a safe place just to make sure that nobody will steal your password. And if you use export and import to apply the configuration, you will apply username password by yourself. At the end of the configuration, you just set the username password and continue to use the router. If recent is also not working, you can get access by the serial port. And some of our devices has a serial port, and you can check what is the console output on that device, and then find out what is the problem. If there is no output, then most likely you will need to exchange the device. You're lucky if it has warranty. If it's not, you will need to get a new device and put it on your network. So this is for software issue. The next step is when you have a configuration issue, you don't know how to configure specific option, or you have very big network and you are not like very sure that you will configure it properly. You can contact and hire MikroTik certified consultant. They are able to help you with some specific configuration or with entire configuration of your network. Usually also, if you just have an issues with specific things, you can ask in the forum. People there are very helpful, and they are like ready to share their knowledge with you and put you in the right direction. And as well, in our wiki we are trying to put all the features and configuration options that are required on MikroTik RouterOS. As version 7 is coming very soon, we are making also refresh of our manual. Hopefully in some period there will be much more information in that manual, so you will be able to use it in a more effective way. What is wrong when your hardware is not working? When your hardware is not working. So here are like suggestions from our side. So if something is wrong with hardware, the first thing to check all the accessories that are used. So power adapter, if the device is powered by power adapter, try to change power adapter. Is the device powered by PoE, change PoE adapter, change cable, maybe somehow cable is damaged and your router is not able to work. Then check the interfaces like SFP modules, wireless card, and if there is like everything seems to be correct, you also need to check a power source. And if power source is working, then more probably you also will need to return the device on RMA. So if you are contacting MikroTik support and you have some specific issues, here are some like suggestions how you can get faster reply and how you can make our job easier and get reply faster. So if something is not working properly, we will always ask you for the support output file. So make support output file and make it on a current on a bug fix version, and we will see what is wrong on your device. And then we will within 3 days we will reply to you. If your router is out of memory, like you see that memory is decreasing and your device is rebooting, for that you need to do these 3 steps. So you upgrade your RouterOS version to the latest one, then reboot it and make support output file in the beginning of the operation. And then when RAM is almost used, almost full, you make another support output file and send to us 2 support files, and we will see what is wrong with your device and what is being used for your memory, and then we will give you a reply. Most likely we will make new RouterOS version, and you will be able to upgrade and then use it for later uses. If you have problem like when your device freezes, somehow it just is not responding. So here are like the steps that you need to do. The same, upgrade the device to the latest RouterOS version. If the particular device has a COM port, connect serial console to the COM port and monitor the device. As soon when your router will start freezing, try to check if something available in console and make super out file. And then copy that serial output that you have on COM and send us both support out file and output from the serial console. If you have any other kind of issue like your devices reboots with a proper shutdown, without proper shutdown, the same. Upgrade device. If you know the steps how to repeat that problem, it is great. For us, it is much easier to repeat that. You provide us with the steps how you do it, make support file, and send it to support. Few more notes for contacting the support. Usually it is very helpful if you briefly explain your problem, as we have usually two issues. First, when person just send support file and no explanation. And so we are starting to asking what is wrong, how to repeat the problem, and so on. And one more thing, when person write to support, like person sits entire evening, send like 5 A4 pages with a description, and then we like need 20-30 minutes to read all the description. Much better if you explain problem briefly within a few points. It's faster for you, it's easier for you to understand. Then send all the files, like support file or any other information that we are asking from you. If like we are asking you to change something, so you change that specific configuration, make new support out file, send to us that I changed this and this, and the problem still exists. Here is my support out file. And the last thing, if you are contacting with us, we are asking you to reply within the same email, as we have our own system that puts all your emails in a specific queue. And if you make new mail all the time, we receive new email, new person will work with that email, and if it will be in one reply, the same person will work on your problem all the time, and it will be much easier for you and faster to get the proper reply. So in the short, this is some suggestion from our side. You are always welcome to go to wiki.mikrotik.com. If you have any issues, contact us by support@mikrotik.com. We will try to help you, and we will try to find out what is your problem. So that actually all. Now we will have a lunch. It will be on the first floor. On the first floor near the lobby. You will need to get that ticket. If you don't have a ticket, you can go to the lunch somewhere outside. And we will be back at 2 o'clock with the next presentation. Thank you very much for listening. And so in 2 o'clock back here, there will be more presentations and other things. Thank you.